Hey, buddy, look, it's first of all, I ordered before you. You should not be getting your
Whoa.
Maverick clothing before
We
me. Logan Paul, you and I, we have an issue, buddy. All
we
right,
ordered the same day though.
you have to
I
apologize. I
mean,
bought two shirts, by the way, Logan. He bought one.
hey, I got the Floor Gang shirt. Okay, Floor Gang comes first.
Yo, he bought your competitors. I mean, not even. They're not competitors.
Not even competitors.
But
Floor Gang merch equals faster delivery.
Floor Gang merch and Maverick, they're the same people.
Same people. Same.
They stand for the same thing. Okay.
I didn't even track it either. Kind of just
Dude,
told me, and I was like,
I don't
oh,
even know if there is a tracking. But
I don't think
okay.
you can.
Anyways. So, hey everyone, welcome to the On and Out podcast. I can't even talk. This is the first episode. This is your boy Will, and we got freaking Caleb here.
What's up?
What's happening?
What's happening?
So-
What's happening? What'd I do?
Dude, crazy
That's been
times.
my favorite thing, dude, to say recently.
So we're in crazy times right now, Caleb.
Yeah, dude.
Crazy moments.
Crazy.
People are
everything.
saying we're living in a history book right now. Like,
Dude, like 2020 has been the craziest, wildest thing ever, dude.
right? Like, I mean, yeah, obviously there can't be a year that's ever been like this. I mean, we have a very controversial president. We have a virus that's trying to kill everybody. We have a movement right now that I mean probably can't is now starting to compare to what Martin Luther King did.
Yeah.
It might not obviously what Martin Luther King did was much or I don't know if it's much greater, but it's a different circumstance, right? But
Yeah.
it's like to that scale right now.
Yeah.
If anything bigger,
To our generation, it's something we haven't seen before.
right.
Yeah, that's
It's
what it
like
comes
we're
down to.
living in a modern revolution right now. It kind of feels like
Yeah.
like
It does.
I don't know exactly during like the march of Martin Luther King, but I don't know if the whole world was with him on it. Probably, but I mean,
Well, social media helps because, back then, it wasn't probably as easy to know what was going on all around the world as it is now.
Right. Yeah, I mean the news can be spread so easily now. Yeah, so, but, dude, man, like how do you feel about this though? Like, you know how like some people are like, man, I feel really sad. Like, like how do you like personally feel?
I am in a conflict with myself because
Okay.
I would say I think it's the right thing to do at the right moment. It's just the people that are making it not right, like the looting and the breaking like other people's crap.
And
I don't think.
and that's a great point to go into. Protesters versus looters, bro.
Yeah, it's a difference.
There's a difference, like
Yeah.
they're not the same people. A lot of them. I mean, I've seen countless videos. I just saw a video of this white kid with a skateboard breaking a window at a store, and one of the black guys that was in the process, he ripped it out of his hand, and he was about to knock him out.
That video. I saw that video.
He was about to knock out that white kid with that skateboard. I mean, like, dude, there's people that are taking advantage, doing it for the wrong reasons, and there's people that are doing it because they believe in the movement. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and that's where I'm conflicted because I don't want to say I'm all for it because I'm afraid that other part is part of the I'm all for it. I don't think society is seeing it as two different things, looters and protesters. At this point, I feel like everything is just one whole thing. But I still see that one part as it's just wrong. You shouldn't be doing that.
Right. You're as far as looting, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's part of it. I personally do see it as like two different things. It's just it does come along with that territory because people are taking advantage. So I guess because a person's taking advantage of it, it doesn't technically mean that it comes with the movement,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? Like the Black Lives Matter movement doesn't mean like, hey, we support looting. You know what I'm saying? But I see what you're trying to say. Like inevitably, people are gonna take advantage and loot because of the protests. Yeah.
Think about it like this: in a history book, it's not gonna say this day protests began, but then some random people decided to loot. It's just gonna say protesting and looting began.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and
Right.
that's where the problem lies, and how it's going to end up in the books actually.
Right, right. But I mean, dude, I think about like these moments that we live in, and it's like later on, our kids are pretty much gonna learn about this in their history books, and like it's
Yeah.
crazy to think, or like our grandchildren, you know, the children of our grandchildren. Like it's crazy to think that I'm gonna be the grandpa telling them about
Dude,
like
don't
how
even
life was in
start.
2020, dude.
That's crazy to think about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you know, we did talk a little bit yesterday about this, but yo, the cops have been charged with second-degree murder.
Yep. I think did all four of them, or just the main
All
guy?
four of them. I believe it's all four of them.
Is-
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is. Well, oh, sorry. I think the main guy. Goodness, I don't even know his name, to be honest with you. But you know, the main cop that caused George Floyd to die. Pretty much murdered him. He's being charged with second degree, and then I think the other three are being charged for accomplice to second degree.
Okay, that's what I thought that it was.
Yeah. But either way, that's heavy, and that, dude, it's gonna set an example.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, they had to do it like this so it won't happen again, or
Right.
at least so they can make sure it doesn't
Minimize like the risk of it happening again. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think this is a good situation for us to see. Not obviously, Black Lives Matters is the main movement, and that's the most important one in this situation. But like, it is good that police officers are being checked on, because this
Yeah.
will not just prevent from Black people dying, but from like Hispanics and Asians and even
Yeah.
whites, for cops to not, use, for police brutality in general should be minimized by these steps that the
Dude, I just think it comes down
law's
to
using.
these cops aren't being trained properly. These
Right.
these cops might be just being told, hey, they might be thinking, I'll just be a cop and I'll do whatever I want because I'm a cop and I am the law.
Yeah.
But I've been watching all kinds of videos on Facebook like the past couple of days about people checking cops. It is crazy how much these cops don't know like what the
Yeah,
law
a lot of
is.
different
It's
laws,
crazy.
yeah.
Oh my god, it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. It's so hard because it's like I don't know. Maybe cops do need some type of college or some type of. I don't know exactly what system needs to be put in place, but I did see a tweet of like how like to become a barber it takes like 10 months, and to become a cop you go to police academy for 6 months. Like it takes longer for you to get your barber license than it is for you to become a police
That's what
officer.
I'm saying. Like they
Yeah.
have to maybe train a little longer, maybe take some more classes in law instead of point and shoot and how to put handcuffs on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because but it's crazy because they're not all like that. Like my uncle and my grandpa were cops or are cops. Well, my grandpa's no longer a cop, but my uncle is in Puerto Rico, and they actually know their stuff. Now I don't know if it's because they
Right. chose
chose to know their stuff, or it's because they were
I mean,
doing it for so long that they eventually
Right.
figured everything out. You know?
I mean, I think that's in every case, right? I think there are police officers that are good police officers. I personally have had good experiences with all the police officers I've had, but it could also
yeah,
be
me
because
too.
of the color of my skin, Like, I mean,
hey,
sure.
not as,
Like-
I don't know, dude.
I mean, I'm not perfectly white, but some people convince me for white. Like, and in general, right? Like, it's more of like a darker skin complexion person where they do have to deal with that kind of like harassment, and so
Yeah,
like,
but
I don't know.
I've been stopped by a white cop, a female cop, and then a black cop, and they've all let me off the hook with just like they all approach me normally, they all
Right.
talk to me normally. Like I ran a red light and almost hit a lady with Jeremy in the front seat without a booster, and the cop
gosh.
just told me, "Watch, pay attention to the stoplights and let me go."
That's why I honestly don't like you driving, but
Whoa. Well, don't even get me started, bro.
What do
you
you
almost
mean?
crashed my car when we were in Raleigh, so I don't want to hear it.
this one occasion. Wait, what just happened?
That's what do you mean?
Are we still good? Okay. I
are you
guess
talking
since I
about?
had to move my mouse for a minute, my screen went like to sleep, but we're good.
Oh, mine don't go to sleep. I update stuff overnight.
This guy. But yeah. So, but I kind of everybody's been focusing on the real tragic aspects of this. Like, I think we should try to give also light to the positive things that have been happening. I've been seeing a lot of videos of like police kneeling with protesters as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just hasn't been like straight up just you know the bad side of things. I mean, there's been a lot of I guess police brutality again when it comes to like macing a peaceful protest and all that stuff, and it's all over the media. But there have been quite a few good moments where like
Yeah.
police officers are kneeling with
Just,
protesters. They're walking with protesters.
yeah.
They're
Just
you know
just a part that everybody could get together, no matter what color you are, at this time, and
I
protest together. Because if you look at half these videos, it's not just black people out there. Like,
right.
the whites are just
Oh
right there with
yeah.
them too, and it's
Whites,
crazy
Hispanics,
how
everyone. Yeah.
this is bringing everybody together. It's crazy, and I've been somebody that I've always said maybe, and I don't know, this is kind of maybe it might be harsh, but maybe our generation will be the generation to make a change when it comes to racism, because maybe the generations before us were just, they weren't, they were shown something that wasn't right, so they're sticking to it. But our generation might be a little different.
You know what it is? No, it is. I think for sure it is our generation. Like, I mean, you even think about like, obviously the way our parents were raised is very different to how they even raised us, right? And so it's like,
Yeah.
I think with this generation, since we have social media and like a lot of ways to voice our opinions, it's not like back then. Back then, if you spoke out in the wrong crowd, you better be careful, because you might, they might take you out, or they might fight you, or they might, you know what I'm saying? And so like back then, it was kind of harder to speak out your speak your opinions and be heard. But now with social media and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook,
Yeah.
you could do that like instantly. So and then what happens is that you find common people, right, that do believe in your beliefs. So I think our generation now, while I think we're technically millennials, and then there's Generation Z. There's a lot of things as far as like that we talked about before, like they're socially awkward and et cetera, but there's a lot of things that this newer generation is also bringing, and one of those things is like speaking your mind, speaking your opinions, like not being brainwashed into living the same life that your parents did, and it's like our parents did like my parents did a great job, but they're also having to learn, just like us, right, in certain situations, that a lot of the things that were done in the past weren't okay, man.
Yeah.
Like, they were screwed up.
Nothing in the past. If I think a lot of things in the past were not done okay,
Right.
like, but that's our job as the next generation to correct what we looked at wrong. So what we thought was wrong that our parents showed us, growing up or whatever, or what they talked about that happened in their past, we need to make sure we don't do that. And I think our generation is doing a good job at that. We just got to make sure that we rely that to the next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's
even though our generation isn't perfect, bro, you've still got,
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that our generation does bring, but we're trying to we're speaking about specifically this topic, and that's what So on this topic of like being outspoken and wanting change, like I feel like our generation does bring want to bring change, to the world.
Yeah.
There is also the cancel culture, which is really annoying, and that's a whole nother conversation. But like, at least in this, there's nobody in our generation that has a brain, I'll say it like that is going to be against this movement, because it's something that is the right thing to do. It's something that has been needing to be done for years, and it's nice. I think it's a great thing for the world in general.
Yeah, and it's crazy how the whole world, like we talked a little bit
Yeah.
yesterday, the whole world is in it, and
They're in it.
and it's crazy
Because they're
to
facing their
everybody.
own racism too, you know, like
Yeah.
obviously police brutality, I think it is like the highest in the United States compared to like a lot of other countries, but like
Yeah.
you know, and throughout the world the racism still exists, you know, and the sad thing is that I am a firm or not, I don't know if firm believer is a word, but I do believe in law and order, right? In the sense of like, you know, I don't want to live in an anarchy. I don't want to live without some type of correction or law in place, right? But it's the system that's broken, right? I can't sit here and say that all police officers are racist. Like there was even one guy that was protesting, and he said, you know, you can't judge one black, you know, if you judge one black person and say, oh, they're all like him, then you know, then that's kind of the same thing as like being like, oh, this cop is racist. All cops are racist. I don't believe all cops are racist. I believe that the system in place is racist, right? And the way that they're taught is racist. But I don't believe that every single police officer is racist. Because it's not. That's just not true. You know, like
It's not true. Yeah.
You know,
Have
it's
you
just a
seen the
blanket
clip?
statement.
This is too funny. They can't not talk about it. But
Oh, man.
there's a video. Okay,
Yeah.
this cop has a megaphone or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he's like talking to the protesters, and everybody's behind him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the dude says, "Just because you had a bad burger at McDonald's doesn't mean McDonald's is bad." And everybody started booing him.
Oh my
They're like,
God.
"What does that have to do?"
Yeah, he tried. He tried.
He
You know?
tried. He tried. It's too funny. I like watched it like 3 times. I was like, "There's no way." He just compared the protest to a Big Mac.
To a Big Mac. My man said, have you ever ate a bad Big Mac? It happens.
You still go back to McDonald's.
You still go back to McDonald's. Okay, buddy.
Oh gosh, dude's
Oh
tripping.
man, no, but you know he tried. He tried. Like,
tried,
but
he tried.
but it is. I mean, you know, that's true. Like, so it's like it's so easy also for us to talk about it like this too, because you know, like realistically, we're not black. You know, because even I think both of us in a way have family members that are black or dark skin colored. We're you know, we're from Puerto Rico. We, you know, there's a lot of African heritage that you know is in Puerto Rico, and so it's like, but like us specifically, right? We are lighter skin. Like if anything, you're a little bit darker than me, and I mean in the summertime, if we if we get in that sun, we'll get dark. Like we'll get brown for sure. But like, you know, the point is our general complexion is lighter, so it's like it's so hard for me to speak about the perspective of a black person without being black. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and I think that's the important thing. And I kind of want to transition into the Hispanic race in that aspect. You know, I think a lot of Hispanic people, I say the older generation, our newer generation is much more in tune with, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement. But with our older generation, they kind of don't get it as much, you know?
Dude, but I mean, if I'm being honest, I had no idea what racism was until I came to the States. Because in Puerto Rico, everybody is just Puerto Rican. No matter what you say, you've got a little bit of something, you know?
But, you know, even Puerto Ricans, they'll be like, ese moreno or something like that. Which
yeah, but
means
it's not, but I never saw it.
Yeah.
But I never saw it as like a racist thing. It was just like, yeah, he's darker, so you call him that. But it was never.
Yeah, it depends.
Like a race
though.
thing.
You're right though. You're right, because Puerto Ricans use moreno a lot, and it just means like a darker complexion person.
Yeah.
And it's fine. But there is occasions where it is used in a degrading fashion, like saying like he's like that because he is dark, you know, moreno. But
it doesn't compare to how bad it is in the States.
But you are right. I do agree. In Puerto Rico, there's people as white as snow, and then there's people as dark as like, you know, purple,
and they're
as they
literally
say. Like,
cousins.
Yeah, and they're cousins. Like in Puerto Rico, it's so mixed, the complexions and so that you can't really like. Yeah, in Puerto Rico, it's kind of different compared to other countries, but even then, I mean, the older Hispanic generation is, well, I'll say outside of Puerto Rico mainly, because I've talked to, you know, I know a lot of Hispanics from other countries, and the older generation just doesn't get it. And I think one of the reasons is because where they come from, right? If we're talking about like Cuba or like Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, like they come from places where they have like next level government oppression, right? Like next level, like like there's control of like it's controlled by the cartel. It's controlled by gangs. It's controlled by it's like a different type. And not discrediting that what happens in the United States with police brutality doesn't exist or isn't as bad, but it's a different perspective, right? Like it's like literally living in a third world country compared to in a way one of the freest nations, right? We're able to protest even if it has been getting violent. The fact that we can protest, the fact that we can speak out, the fact that we can do what we're doing, in this situation compared to other countries where they're like, oh, we're just gonna kill these people, like
exactly.
It's very like I think for Hispanic parents it's hard for them to realize that just because it's not as bad in certain aspects, right, from their country, that it doesn't mean that it's not bad, like it doesn't mean that police brutality doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that black people are still being oppressed, so I don't know. That's my take on it as far as like Hispanic parents.
But I don't even know if it's just Hispanic, just older like people in general. They either don't get it or just don't care, because they're just like it's whatever to them.
Well, I think with Hispanic parents it's kind of different because, like I said, I think they do come from that background of living in poor countries where I mean even Cuba, like in Cuba you literally have to rent out everything. The government owns your land. You're literally renting out your land. You can't buy land. You rent out the land. Even when you become a farmer and you want to add like cows to your farm, you rent the cows from the government. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, like it's insane. And then I think like white folks, right? It's kind of different for them because they do have a history of being the more what's it called? Like oppressive race. I mean, they are they've been the oppressors for years, and in the past. So like they have that history of like, we freed them. They got their rights. They need to stop exaggerating. You know what I'm saying? Like like they're in their mentality, or some, right? Once again, I'm not here to say that all white people are racist because I don't believe that. But there is a good amount of white people that believe like, they got it better off now. They're lucky they're just not they're not slaves anymore. I feel like that's kind of their mentality, which is horrible realistically.
I mean, it's just I don't see it. I don't see this protest fixing it all. But I think it's a start, and I think it really we need to continue. The problem where I see the problem was whenever it was going on with Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
And he was killed, and then it kept going for a little bit, but it kind of just died off. I think that's the problem. We can't let it just fade away when it gets a little better.
Well, you know what?
And then, sorry,
keep going. Mm-hmm.
I was like, if we just they got charged, they got revenge, or not revenge, but they paid for what they did,
right?
And the government is gonna find a way to make it up to the people, so the people will stop and just let it just go away, and then eventually it's just gonna go back to the same deal over again. So I think we need to continue until
actual change.
Not just, hey, they're arrested, okay, all right, Trump's not the president anymore, somebody else is president now, we can stop. That can't happen.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there has to be like laws put in place. There has to be like corrections in the Constitution itself, or amendments to the Constitution for it to actually be all worth it. Because like, I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, I think one thing is too, I think it kind of starts like at least for like normal people, regular people like us, right? That we don't really have a platform. We're not police officers. We're not politicians or et cetera, et cetera. We're not in those positions. I think between us, we have to be outspoken about it, right? I think it was Logan Paul in his statement that he made, that he said, it was something along the lines of like not responding isn't okay anymore. Like it's like being complacent is like still as racist. In other words, like he's like, you gotta call out the people around you who are being racist and be like, hey, it's not okay. The friends, families, whoever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's being outspoken and talking to your friends and your family, people that are close to you. I think that's our job as regular people, you could say, of like doing our job to spread awareness of what like it means. Because like for some people, it takes years and years and years for them to have like that epiphany moment and understand and change their mindset. Like a lot of people, they can't just change their mindset off of one conversation. Like they'll have that conversation.
Hold that thought.
All right.
Gotta pee.
What are you, Caleb?
Sorry.
What are you talking about? We're in a live podcast right now, man. I'm not cutting it
I've been
out.
holding it for 5 minutes.
I'm not cutting it out. Man, better hurry up.
Holding it.
Are you getting? Look how unprofessional this is. Having a deep conversation.
I have been holding it for 5 minutes, and it didn't look like we were stopping anytime soon.
Why?
So I had...
No. Why? Okay, buddy. Are you kidding me?
All right, I'm back.
Anyways, the point is, I think it's within our own, you know, like we have to start the conversations between family and friends, and we have to start, having these conversations of like, for people to change their mind, you know, because it takes a long time, man. It's not going to be through 1, 2, 3, 4 conversations. It's going to take a while for people to change their habits, you know. Because like their behavior, their mindset is a habit, right?
And that's that's what it is. A habit. It's people have become accustomed to be able to do what they do and not, you know. I don't think this cop that did this, I don't think he expected to be charged the way he was charged. I thought he probably thought he was going to get away with just being laid off of work with pay like every other cop, and just I feel like what this did the best was show the cops that just because you weren't the one doing it, you were just watching or you were just there and you didn't do it, you didn't do anything about it, you're part of the problem. And I think that's probably bigger than the fact that he's being charged. It's the fact that the other 3 cops were charged for just letting it happen. You know,
you bring a good point now to me. Like the sad thing is that even though great, we're getting a 2nd-degree murder charge on this police officer and all these other ones are being held accountable, there's something that needs to be changed in the police education system, right? In the academy. Because like, okay, great, we charge them, but you know what else it could be? And obviously the man had hatred in his heart. You could obviously clearly see that this man didn't care. He wanted to show his authority, right? He liked showing, like, having this man on the ground and doing this to him, right? You could see it in his eyes. But maybe he was also not even trained correctly. You know, maybe he shouldn't have even had that job to begin with. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, great that we charged him. He freaking deserves it. The other police officers that were with him deserve it by not stopping him. But what does that say about their education system as cops? You know, as in the police academy? What does that say about them? Like, what is more important to them? Like flexing your authority, right?
That's what I'm saying. They're giving... Cops need to understand they're not the law. They're there to enforce the law that they clearly don't know, and they probably need to spend more time in class learning the law than just learning how to pull somebody over or
Right.
learning how to unholster their gun when they're gonna pull it at you because you didn't roll your window down fast enough. You know?
Yeah, and not just the law, but like actual like medical, like like skills, like to know.
Do they
like,
even get background checked?
Yeah, they do. They do. They do. I know
Like,
that.
it's just, this is like crazy. Like, if there's a doctor that is out here just, I don't like the way this guy's looking at me, I'm just gonna mess up the surgery. That guy would just lose his job instantly.
Dude, that's the crazy thing. Like, it's like these police officers, there's a culture of them being able to do whatever they want and then saying, hey, I was in fear for my life. That was the issue. Like, that's no longer a good excuse. You know what I'm saying? That's
What
no
happened to-
longer like
yeah.
a valid excuse, bro. You can't just say, oh, I feared for my life, so I killed this person. Like, you know what you're doing, bro.
Yeah, but what if somebody kills a cop saying, I fear for my life, the cop pulled the gun out on me without me pulling a gun
Yeah.
out, so I decided, let me pull my gun out and shoot the cop.
Right. Oh,
I feared for my life.
He feared for his life. Well, I'm fearing for my life. Let me kill the cop. You know?
Yeah.
Like
It's ridiculous.
It's not fair to say that the police officer can do that and it's okay. But if a normal citizen is
I
in
just
fear
I
for
just
their
want to
life,
see where in the whatever law or rules or whatever they follow says, if you fear for your life, shoot whoever you want.
right?
Because my uncle would always tell me that a cop can't shoot until they're being shot at. Like, if there's a high-speed chase, the cops don't start shooting at the car unless the car shoots at them. Why isn't that the same rule as if you pull somebody over and they have a gun in the car, they don't have it on their hand or anything? Why is the cop able to say, pull their gun out and threaten or sometimes even shoot people just because of the thought of they have a gun?
Or that they're not wanting to get out the car. Or, like, dude, that's not how it works. You can't just pull people out of the car. Like, unless you're seeing an actual danger being performed or, like, an actual, like, gun, drug, something, actual evidence, then you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know what's crazy? They implemented these stupid cameras, right?
Right.
And all it shows is the cops doing incorrect things, but that's, we caught him. He did it wrong.
Yeah.
Shucks. That's it. It just stays as, we got it on video. Great. That's it.
And
they're going to be suspended with pay.
Yeah, with pay. Vacation time off.
With pay. That's what gets me. With pay. Dude, if I piss off Karen at Walgreens, I'm getting sent home, and I ain't getting paid for it. Okay? Why does this guy who just went to school for how much? How long? 6 months? 6 months?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then they get to literally do whatever they want to whomever they please just because they're a cop.
Yeah. And no, it's sad. And by the way, I mean, I feel like I kind of laugh a little bit, but that's just my, like, coping mechanism, by the way, just to clarify, of, like, when I think something's ridiculous. Like, I'm like, dude, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm not like, oh, this is fun. Let's, that's not, just to clarify. That's just, like, how I react to things that I think are just absurd. But, no,
I think everybody does that. I think everybody laughs.
Everybody in our friend group does that. But, like, even when, never mind. Yeah. But,
we're not laughing at the situation. We're just laughing because you can't do anything other than laugh. Why? It's just.
So, what do you think about people some people have been boycotting TikTok because of a lot of the racist stuff on there?
Honestly, so basically on TikTok, you watch what you follow or you watch what you like, right?
Right.
So I just stopped, like, following people that post random, like, they'll have good stuff, but then they'll have, like, one video that you're like, okay, that's messed up. I stopped watching those people, and I will say this: my TikTok feed, at least my For You page, has been cleaner,
right,
than it was before. Just because I told you, like, my TikTok was dark, like, dark humor for the longest.
Hey, that's a good topic to get into. Like, what draws the line between racism and dark humor? Is there not a line anymore?
There is a line, but it's just hard to describe the line. Like, I don't know. I think you have your line, right? People have their line.
Right.
It's all up to you, and everybody, and it's gonna be a problem because it all depends on your mentality. To me, I don't see. I don't. It just really. I don't know. I just watched the video and I'm like, okay, that's all right. But sometimes I'll watch a video and I'm like, you should be saying that, or you shouldn't be doing that.
Because like for me, right, dark humor is funny because it is like offensive. So it's kind of like a shock factor humor, you know? It's like, whoa, that's not right, but it's not right, you know, like, but it's funny because it's like it is.
It's funny because that person took it there. That's why it's funny. Like, it's funny because like, this guy just took it there.
But it's like for me, it's not funny because I'm like, yeah, screw them, like I'm racist. You know what I'm saying? But it's scary because especially during these times, right? Like, you know, dark humor is very broad. We're not just talking about like, you know, dark humor against black people, but you know, since it is this time period, right, that there is dark humor out there about black people. Like, do you think that?
Here's where I draw the line, and I just figured out where my line is. If you're a person where, if I go to your TikTok, since we're talking about TikTok, if I go to your TikTok page and you're just a comedic person, all your TikToks are funny, and you can tell that you're a professional, you're funny, you do comedy or whatever, right? And then you have a dark joke. To me, that's okay because you didn't just you're a comedian and you had a dark joke, and you're not always like that. You just had that one dark joke. But now, if I go to your TikTok page, right, and all you do is all these like dark, so that's racist but dark humorous things, right? And that's all you do, and you're not a comedian, you're just a kid filming from his bathroom, saying some messed up stuff, saying it's dark humor. That's where I draw the line. You're not,
you know,
that's all you do, and that just becomes racist.
Right. I think that's a good point because it's like, I think of like what really irks my nerves. For example, like, you know, we're gamers, we play Call of Duty, we play many other multiplayer games, right? Like what really irks my nerves is when somebody's trying to be racist or say some really dumb stuff, through a video game, because you know they're just immature little kids trying to like spark a reaction or, you know, spark some madness. And so like that irks my nerves. But so for me, I think I just noticed where my line is. I think there's like a level of professionalism and maturity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right? The professionalism. If you can tell this person is like a professional.
Right.
Like, for example, I love Chris D'Elia. Is he dark? Yeah. Is that his comedy? And he's like a funny dude. He's a professional. He has like Netflix specials and stuff. And he has these edgy jokes here and there. That's cool. Now, if you're some 12-year-old playing Fortnite, saying whatever you want to say, because you're behind this screen, you could do whatever. Nobody knows who you are, where you live. None of that. That's where I draw the line.
You're a keyboard warrior. Yeah, I agree. I think that's where my line is too. I think that, but also I think even in that aspect, like if a comedian is like in his personal life, like from things that we see, is still like if you're living out your jokes as a comedian, that's also kind of an issue. Because like, for example, a lot of like dark humor comedians that I've seen, they kind of, you know, like for example, I'll say Anthony Jeselnik. I don't know if you've ever watched him, but he's like super dark. Like not, and I honestly don't know if I can't remember like if he's ever made a black dark joke. But I know he's like real dark. Like the jokes that come to mind, I can't picture like a black like he's ever said a black one, but he's made like dead baby jokes, like a lot of like
I know who you're talking about now. You said dead baby, I see that joke.
Like he's like really dark. Like I mean, even when like the Boston like marathon was happening, and you know like the bombing happened, and he posted on Twitter. And sorry, I chuckle because I do kind of find dark humor funny, but I see where people really find it offensive. And he says, you know, sometimes some lines should just not be crossed because it was a race.
Like see, it just depends. Like that's the thing. Like to me, that's like okay, depends on when you say it. Like if you say it years in the future, like you know, like not like 9/11 jokes. People now, like back then, you wouldn't hear a 9/11 joke. Like closer to, but the farther you are from 9/11, I feel like the more people are like,
Acceptable
oh, that's
of it,
funny.
I
Yeah,
guess,
the more they accept it, right? Okay, that's funny. Messed up, it's funny. Okay, move along. But if
Right.
something just happened and then you go on and make fun of it, people haven't had time to recover,
Right. And
from what
his
happened.
excuse is like, he's like, I don't like, there's a lot of messed up stuff that happens in the world. I just rather make a joke out of it
Okay, but do it to
and like,
yourself. Why you gotta tweet it?
yeah, but like he says like to like make somebody laugh a little bit during like the tragedy. Like his excuse is, and I understand it, but like I can see where other people don't understand it at all. Like I understand both sides, but what I'm trying to say is like some people just are like,
Okay,
heck no,
okay,
but like he's just trying to like the way he sees it is that he's just trying to alleviate the situation by giving some laughter in the situation.
Okay, but the people that will laugh at it are people that weren't actually affected.
Hey, that's a good point. I mean, there are people who support the bad things of that situation. Like for example, if it is
Anarchists.
like, right. That's a good
But
point.
like, if you had a family member or brother or sister, anybody who was affected by that, or you lived there, or you saw it, and you're in shock from what happened,
Yeah.
you're not gonna find it funny. If you're a dude who this happened in Boston and you're in Texas, right?
Right.
Nobody that you found out 2 days later, and you saw the tweet a week later, you're gonna laugh at it because you thought it was funny, but you weren't affected directly,
Right. And that's where, even for me, man, it's hard sometimes. Like, even with like the Black Lives Matter movement, like I feel for them but I feel for them because I don't fully understand, and it makes me feel bad in a way that I can't fully like be as passionate about it. But like it's like where that saying was, it was like I can't, like people are posting it a lot where it was like even though I can't understand, however I stand, or something like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's how
because
I
I've
feel.
never-
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I think every Puerto Rican is like, Puerto Rico is protesting now,
Right.
and I don't think they fully understand the feel. Like I don't know how it feels to be
Right.
oppressed. Maybe I have been oppressed, and I just don't notice, because I usually, when something bothers me, I usually just kind of half the time, just let it happen.
I mean,
but
yeah, I mean, I felt many situations where I felt people were being racist towards me, but there's no way that it's the same. Like, there's no way that it's
exactly.
the same level of what black people have had to face.
yeah, like I've had people say, it's America, speak English, while I'm speaking Spanish
Yeah.
to my parents, and I'm like, okay, but there's no way it compares to and the bad thing is that you see it every day. Especially I'm around people all the time, and I could see the looks that people give other people depending on what they're dressing like, or like, old white lady, and I'm saying it because it happens. Old white lady comes in, all right, a young black man's coming out the store, and she will literally run back just to stay away from him while he leaves the store, and then she'll come in, right? And they look spooked. Like, that's just, I would never feel like, I know that guy, that guy noticed it, and he just kind of just kept going, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you would never know what that feels like.
Right.
We will never know. No matter what happens, we will never know how that feels like. Maybe the older people know what it feels like more than the younger people, but at the end of the day, we still don't know what that feels like. And that's why I stand for it, because I wouldn't want to feel that. Or to even experience it. And I feel like if we just let it slide, maybe not just blacks, maybe they'll be racist towards everybody, which they kind of are, but maybe we'll get to a point where it's the same.
The fact that you have to say they kind of are, like, it's so twisted, bro. Like,
it's just a hard topic. It's just hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, there's racist black people too, and you can't ignore that. But the problem is, they're probably racist.
We won't get into that one.
No, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're probably feeling some kind of way towards whites because of what whites have done.
Right. I see what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Jesus, it's hard to talk about,
dude. It is hard because, like, I don't want to like slip up and make people think like, that we don't care, like, but it is true, like, we don't fully understand. And so, like, obviously, to clarify, like, we apologize if we offend anyone, and if anything, I mean, leave it down in the comments below, like, clarify certain certain things that we may have said that aren't correct, or You know, like I like healthy criticism. If you want to criticize us and give us like a good, you know, like critique, like not just being like, hey, you're dumb, like
like tell us what's wrong. Let us know. Next time
like,
we'll read what you said and we'll talk about it.
Because it's like it's completely like we can't fully understand what it's like, and so we'll talk about our perspective and the things that we've dealt with and we've seen, but like at the same time we can't fully comprehend the whole you know situation. But
I think it's mainly because of us. Maybe it has nothing to do with it, but maybe it does. Maybe it's because of we at least myself. I was always with my parents. I lived in Puerto Rico. None of that stuff really happened all the time, or rarely, right?
Yeah.
Then I lived. My parents always made sure we were in like good neighborhoods where we were always in the house. They never let us go out of the house, so we were never exposed to any of this stuff. Then I become an adult, move out, find video games. I don't leave the house anyway, so I have no idea what is going on in the world half the time because I just sit at home and do my thing and go through Twitter. I'm like, oh God, this is going on, right?
Right.
It's like it's hard for me to know what's going on and to feel some kind of way because I'm not around it, involved enough.
Yeah, it's like it's different for us, I think, because like I think, you know, in our personal lives, we've never been racist. Like we may have like certain stereotypes that are in our subconscious maybe, but like, dude, you know, I you know where my parents live. My parents live, literally everyone that lives around them is black. There used to be a Hispanic. No, there's like two Hispanic families at the end of the street. Back then there was like, there's an Asian family, and then the rest are just black people, but black people that I grew up with, like for I don't know what, like 9-10 years, and like, you know, I was scared and cautious when it came to people who I knew were sketchy. Like there was the people sell drugs. Like we had the SWAT team like go in into a house across the street. Like and the houses are nice, but it's a bad neighborhood. And like, dude, one guy that we used to go to school with got shot at his doorstep, which is literally 2 houses down from where my parents' house is. Like so in a way, like I lived surrounded by black people. I had black friends all throughout my teenage years. I would say my younger years, I lived with only Puerto Ricans hung out with only Puerto Ricans because I lived in Florida, and that's pretty much all there is there. And the church we went to was all like the majority was Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, but which even then, once again, like a lot of them are dark complexion people. So we lived like surrounded by dark complexion people, you know, black people, and it's like, it's just so it's like, you know, I had good black friends, and I've had good black friends, and that's that. Like, but to me, it's like, oh, they're
sketchy white people out there too, you know.
Dude, they're just like, yeah, like I don't like. It's like when I say I don't see color, I really don't, because like that's it. Like I hung out with everyone when I was younger, so it's like hard for me to fully understand what a racist mind thinks like, because I don't think I'm racist at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So. Yeah. To me, it's the same way. Like to me, color was just. What gene you got? Did you get your mom or your dad? As a Puerto Rican, my mom was white Indian. My dad was Indian and African American. Not African American, but African. Yeah. A lot more African than Indian, but he still had that Indian, right?
Yeah, your actual
my brother
is
dark. So my brother is a little bit lighter than me. Doesn't have curly hair, has like good hair, and he had blue eyes as a baby, and then I'm holding him as a mother and father, and I'm darker with curly hair and brown eyes.
Right.
You know, my other brother, his dad's is a different father, but still Puerto Rican nonetheless. Dude is literally gray, the color gray. He's not even tan or white or dark. He is gray. So to me, it was just like, what'd you get? My cousin is really dark. My other cousin is really white.
Right.
Puerto Rican, you got to be moreno, you got to be white. That's it.
Right.
That was it. So
that's just how it works in Puerto Rico. That's just how it works. You just come out, one comes out white, one comes out dark, like legit. Like I mean, my dad That's where I get my darker complexion, because you know my dad, when
Yeah.
when he's in the sun, oh,
Yeah,
forget
when your
about
dad's
it.
out in the sun,
My dad is dark brown.
I haven't seen him in a while, but doing these outdoor
I mean,
church events, I
normal-
bet he's getting dark.
Yeah, normal, he's brown. Normal.
Yeah.
Like, but when that sun hits him, he's dark brown. And it's like,
Yeah.
and then my mom is like pale. And they're
Yeah.
both Puerto Rican, both raised in Puerto Rico, and that's why I came out like this. I could be super pale, as like I could be like super dark. It's like crazy. But like anyways,
Yeah.
the point is like, you know, I think it is different for Puerto Ricans compared to other Hispanics, I'll say. I mean, even though there is darker complexion people in like Honduras, I've met a lot of Hondurans that are darker complexion. But the point is like, I'm glad that this movement is taking place right now, you know? And
yeah, it's about time, basically. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's about time that something is getting done.
right.
I just don't like the looting. I just can't. If they would have done
Right,
this
no.
and no looting, I would have been like,
Right.
I would have been like, sign me up.
Well,
Where's
once
the
again,
next event?
it's like we're saying, it's two different
Yeah.
like groups. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's sad that kind of comes along with the movement, because people are taking advantage, not because it is part of the movement, not because it's part of the movement's beliefs, but it's because people are taking advantage of what the movement is and they're looting and stuff. But you know, yeah, I think that's a good way to wrap up, man. Honestly, my thoughts is like, dude, just do your part within your family, within your friends, to speak to them, to bring awareness to this issue, and let's change people's minds, man. Let's say I feel like we're in a time of a revolution right now, and something's gonna come out of this, and I just hope that it's the right thing. So
Yeah, definitely. It has to be the right thing, because all this is going on. It can't just go back to how it was.
Yeah, I don't think
it needs to change for the better.
I don't think our generation will let it happen.
Yeah, it's
They won't let it go
It's-
back
it
to
won't.
how things were, and so in that aspect, we got to thank this generation for it. But in other aspects, oh, don't get me started, man. This generation. No, I'm just kidding.
oh whoa, dude.
But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, man. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. No, okay.
What?
That was a little inside joke, but yeah. So Caleb.
So Will.
So the way this show works, by the way, it is the first episode. We kind of say goodbye, but then it's the on and on podcast, man. We keep going. So yeah, see you guys.
We'll
later.
eventually just
Take
cut
care.
it off somewhere in his
Right.
next conversation. So, but yeah, dude. So John Jones, an MMA fighter, was straight up walking down like his neighborhood, like basically threatening to fight people if they didn't give him like their spray cans, because they were like spraying stuff down with like
Oh.
spray cans. So they have a video of him basically mugging some white dude, telling him, "Give me the can," and it's like he's like, "Give me the can." And he chases the guy down until he basically yanks the can out of his hand
No
and
way.
walks off.
Oh,
And then J.R. Smith